Next conversation, shall we? In a democracy, the integrity of those who seek power is as crucial as the process that grants it. Ahead of the 2025 governorship election in Anambra State, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has published the personal details of the 16 candidates cleared for the governorship race. This happened after the conclusion of the party primaries and the submission of nomination forms by the parties. INEC has also called on members of the public to scrutinize the documents which have been uploaded on its dedicated portal. Now, so GKB, the first question will be, why does INEC publish details of candidates?
Those who come to equity must come with clean hands.
Clean hands, absolutely.
And besides, most of the time, in the years past, people tend to embellish their qualifications. Okay. People don't do that anymore. Most Nigerians just simply put in their school certs.
Exactly.
Or what they call the one before school cert. They just put it there so that let my people go. So this will really not change the fundamentals on the ground. Because at this 2025, I don't think anybody will be naive enough to pad
their qualifications.
Basically at this point. Because we all know in the past, people just go to the barest minimum. So not to give room for opponents to start nitpicking areas or something. Because I know a man who said he had an MBA. Okay. And then he said he forgot to put in view. So people were saying he didn't have an MBA and then he was supposed to be in view and all that. So while this is good, but you and I know Nigerian politicians have grown beyond these traps, basically. Because you don't really need to show whether you have masters or doctorates. Just the primary school or secondary school, whatever is.
Which is the requirement of the constitution and just.
So this is just basically to let's see that everybody is clear that we come with clean hands.
Oh.
The reality is that the party themselves must have watched out because don't forget, it was qualification that killed the Bayelsa.
Okay, yes.
Very sad event.
So parties have grown to the level where they don't allow
those kind of those kind of lapses and all. But now the thing is, now that INEC has published the details of this governorship candidate, what should be the role of citizens when they see these things on INEC portal?
I think that's the essence. The essence is before the June 9, when they will publish the names in fulfillment of the Electoral Act provision of 150 days before the election. This will afford, especially, pardon my language, troublemakers, people who believe that the process wasn't free.
Okay.
INEC has told them, approach Federal High Court to challenge it. If you feel this person did not emerge, if you feel, okay, the faction that conducted the primary does not have the locus, you can also go to court and challenge it. INEC did not say, come and submit your petition to us.
Okay.
Go to
court and challenge
it.
INEC will only listen to the court.
And they will look at the ruling, for them to validate whether you are the candidate or not the candidate, whether your case is thrown out. So that's the import of this portal. But that time, when June 9, when it will be 150 days before the November 8 election, then we will be looking at this candidate. But like you said, I recall first time I saw this, and I was like, wow, this is a revelation. When I saw that the candidate only has O-level. But then I saw Aregbesola having O-level. I said, I thought Aregbesola went to Badopoli now. So this man no go school, We're thinking it's a revelation, not knowing that, make it simple. O-level is not in controversy.
Because that is
because we don't know whether some of them, they were doing student unionism and they were rusticated and they didn't finish. Some of them had some issues.
Just to avoid some
certain... So please, I'm saying this to social media enthusiasts before they will say, can you imagine? People that are ruling us are just O-level holders. It's beyond that. Sometimes it is just a way of saying, this is the requirement.
The requirement according to law.
But more importantly, it's for troublemakers who feel this person should not fly the flag of our party. Because I was interested in what about this list? who signed for this party, because some parties are still having issues.
Issue of national secretary issue, yes.
So that one is still going to come up later. But for now, go and verify and don't call INEC into your parole.
I think INEC is also trying to solve the problem of pre-election matters.
Okay.
Yes, cases,
to election matters.
But in screening this document, should it not be the role of INEC? Should it not be the role of political party or even perhaps the DSS?
That's why they brought it out. They've done the needful.
Why allow the citizens to do
because you are going to
let the DSS do, INEC do the needful.
Again, sometimes in life, you just have to go the extra mile. Because like I there are some cases who are still at the Supreme Court, midway into Buhari's tenure. And one funny guy was still going to the Supreme Court, asking for them to annul Buhari's election.
The primary.
Because of 1, 2 things happened before the election. I think that is just trying to show that our hands are clean. But knowing Nigerians, this will not stop those who make trouble from making trouble. So they'll just find a way of trying to put clinks in the system.
Yes.
It's what we do best. People, Yorubas will say, somebody who doesn't have a wife is claiming a child. It's only in Nigeria that you see people like that who have not slept with a woman coming out to say the child is also mine. That's what we do in our politics. Somebody just stay in one corner looking for the chinks. Okay, this is how I'm going to get this man. So this, of course, will allow everybody to have their...
All right, but is it possible for political parties, who may want to substitute candidates after this list?
No, the timeline is there.
Okay, the timeline.
150 days.
Okay.
Yes. This is not the final list. This is the final list to come out in June.
Okay,
That's
June 9. Okay.
This is just the preliminary list. I guess you want to drop somebody, bring somebody on board. Maybe somebody will go say, fine, this does not obey federal character or does not follow.
Or is a placeholder.
Or whatever older is.
Because there was a time that
what came up. So what I do is just give enough time for everybody to hear their views. Do whatever they want. So
more like a fallout of the primaries. So let's see what else
end of this matter will start in June.
Okay.
That's when the real business will start.
Your thoughts on this?
So, like you said, it's just about the primaries. Do not, because people are fond of insulting INEC and saying that you have not done this, you have not done that. If you have issues with what is in that portal, you were a classmate to this person, you know he made a third class, but you put 2 there, flag it. You know he didn't graduate, but he said he graduated, flag it. I think this is to reduce the investigative work that INEC needs to do, or the scrutinizing work that INEC needs to do. So if this thing can be sorted at that level, I think it's a welcome idea.
Now, in Anambra State, the election will be coming up.
Yeah.
How will you advise INEC? Because we saw what happened in Ondo State. We saw what happened in Edo State. There were some things that happened. There were some rights that needed to, there were some wrongs that needed to be right. What will you advise INEC as the election, draws closer? I mean, in 150 days now. Well,
they just have to obey the rules as they themselves laid out. I think people complain basically when the rules are bent or they were skewed in one way or the other. If INEC could simply follow their own rules, this is what we are going to do it. This is the time frame, do it. People will complain, but the complaints will be minimal because they will have said you've done what you are supposed to do. I think that's all they need to do. But besides, in Anambra, I don't want to say it's a one-horse race, but it's basically going to be based on variables right now. It's going to be maybe one-horse race. So those who complain will be minimal. It's not going to be a very tight race, like what happened in Edo.
Okay. Yes, in Edo State.
So this is going to be simpler than that. So I think the complaints will be minimal.
What do you think?
So for INEC, I think it's just a way to improve the process. There is room for INEC to almost get it right when we're having staggered elections, because you have more security personnel manning one state election. I think, is there going to be another election that period? I think it's only Anambra. So there's room for INEC to maximize the personnel that they will have. And like you said, if it's going to be a one-horse race, there's going to be less tension. You think the incumbency
factor will play a big role here?
It's more than incumbency factor. The state is practically owned by the ruling party there. You know, there's that cult-like followership for the man who created that party. He still wields a strong influence in that area. And beyond that, I think the governor has also not done badly. You understand? Supposing he has messed up, then we can begin to look at a possible, he has also aligned the center. Exactly.
Okay. So that's also a factor. So the center is not trying to bully him out of the way. So I think I call this the mimical factor. When you are a one-party state, just make sure you are friendly with the president so that you protect your own interests going down the line. It's going to be interesting, but I'm looking forward to the status quo being retained.
Okay. Now, considering the conduct of primaries, are we likely to have petitions? You know, considering the conduct of primaries on the PDP, the APC, the Labour Party, are we likely to have some sort of petition?
Of course.
Grow out of it?
Politicians are the greatest optimists in the world. A politician, you know for sure, if they should run the election 500 times, if there are 10 people contesting, it will come 11th.
You know, I have to emphasize on Labour Party.
That's what I'm saying. The scenario this year is different from scenario 2 years ago. So Labour then was not the Labour now.
Okay.
A lot of the Labour officers, a lot of the Labour people who are elected on the Labour ticket, they've moved on. And especially in the Southeast, other parties have caught up with that myth, as it were. So Anambra will just be a test run for what's going to happen
in 2027.
Unfortunately for Labour, Apuga is entrenched in Anambra. And don't forget, this is just the gubernatorial election, not the state of assembly elections.
Okay.
So it's not going to affect the states fundamentally beyond whoever occupies the government.
So the structure is still there.
The House of Assembly is still there. Things are still, members of the National Assembly,
they are still there, you know.
It's only the governor or the gubernatorial seat that will be affected by this particular election. So they were able to concentrate, but I don't think whether Labour has issues or not, I don't think they are going to be a major factor going forward.
Whether they have issues or not?
As far as Anambra is concerned. I'm not talking about Enugu or Abia.
Okay. But as far as Anambra is concerned,
I don't think so.
So the possible litigation, I don't know. I don't even foresee it because it has not been in the news. You know, when primaries are conducted, you can almost get a dissenting voice.
But now that the list has now, been published,
because anything it was not even controversial. So if there's going to be any kind of thing, it will be more of technical. Maybe not out of the primaries that was conducted.
Okay.
For example, there was supposed to be some kind of hot battle in APC in Anambra. Okay. You understand? When the guy from Labour Party came into APC, some power block, wanted to make him the candidate so that he can give the Anambra governor, a run for his money. But then, I think the Ukachuku guy is more homegrown. He's been a perennial candidate or a perennial contestant, and he was able to get the ticket. So I've not heard a dissenting voice, from anywhere about his emergence. So for Labour Party, the candidate is also not a threat, so to say. If he's a threat, then we can talk about maybe the ruling party putting some wheel on the wheel of his progress. I mean, to ensure that he doesn't emerge as a candidate. So however it will be, if this credentials submitted is where they want going to get him, if it is the age listed in the submission, it's going to be an issue. Don't underrate politicians in that area. Because we've seen cases, Yamechi became a governor without spending a dime. So something can happen.
All right, now still talking about this display of their particulars. I mean, with this public display of their particulars, what does this say about the transparency of the process?
The process is transparent because INEC decides that's what they want right now. Like I said, it's up to the umpire, really. The rules are very clear. They are not ambiguous.
Okay.
Come in with, if you have O levels, come with O levels. If you work somewhere, tell us where you worked. Give us the background why you left the place.
And you want to be a public office holder.
Absolutely.
So all these are basically the job of the umpire. But I like the fact that they are Americans who say they are farming it out, so that other people can come in. Because sometimes somebody can lose an election if his name is Samuel Odo, but you wrote Samuel Edo. That's how
exactly. All those kind of
basically just to make sure that the election does not carry the taint.
Okay. Now, in rounding up this conversation, voter apathy. Are you worried that this election might go that way as well? Because INEC will say that, oh, lots of people collected PVCs, but we see just a few people come out to vote.
You know, when I saw that bill at the National Assembly where they want to make voting compulsory, mandatory.
I think it's a very, very sensitive situation.
And with an option of jail or some kind of fine. I laugh because I think we shouldn't get to that level. In my view.
Don't force somebody to do
Don't force. I may not have my choice among all the 16 candidates. So why force me to go and top
Not voting is a choice.
Exactly.
Not voting.
Exactly. That's why we have what we call undecided.
Yeah.
You understand? So
even though it's your civic responsibility.
No, it's your civic responsibility to vote if you have nobody, if you have no dog in the race.
Exactly.
It is your civic responsibility not to vote.
No, it's your right.
Not to vote.
Not to vote.
Okay, but anyway, I don't want to flog this too much. It's another conversation entirely. But anyway, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return,